Wake Up Warchant, also a standalone video on YouTube. If you're listening to Wake Up Warchant, we told you earlier that we're going to have Michael Langston on to hang out. There he is. If you're watching the video, his voice about to hit your eardrums here in a second. Michael, what should folks do if they're listening or watching on YouTube for this show?
Oh, always should hit the like button. That's certainly it's free, it's easy, promotes our shows, promotes everything, promotes this show. So definitely hit the like button.
Absolutely. All right, man. Junior week or junior day part due. Reloaded. Lots of big time talent on campus. Let's start off with somebody who's already in the boat for the Noles, and that would be a sizable young man from Jacksonville, Florida. Rains High School, 6'4", 315 is what he's listed as. Solomon Thomas, 4-star composite, number 6 tackle in the entire nation for the 2025 cycle. He's already committed. But it's always, touch and go. Apparently, I don't know if there was rumor that he was down in Gainesville last weekend or whatnot, but
Right.
being in Tallahassee, what did that mean for the Noles' chances, and did that firm things up a little bit, do you think?
I think it was a big deal just having him there because you want him after you visit a school that like Florida or when these other schools are trying to still work on Solomon. He was there for 3 days. He actually got there early. I want to say like Thursday. Visit Thursday. Spent a lot of time with the players. That was mainly the main thing they were doing. And then Friday, I think they watched. He watched the tour of duty, got the experience. Lot of different things of what he goes through if he's when he's a player there. And then Saturday was more of the junior day stuff. He went to the hoops game a little bit, watched kind of exciting atmosphere. So I think it was great. I think it was perfect of everything he was looking for. I am completely confident that where FSU sits on this commitment, I think they sit in a really good spot. I think the only visit he said when he talked to our Ben Spicer as far as after the junior day, he said the only visit he has is the official visit to FSU. So I think they feel really good, and I feel really good about where they sit. I think this weekend only solidified that of his feelings about Alex Atkins, the offense, the players, the connection he has with FSU is just very unique and special. And I think they did a lot. Just if there needed to be something to solidify, I guess they handled that. But I think they're in a very good spot with that commitment.
The video that we're playing is his sophomore season highlights, so he's only grown and got bigger since then. Is he, you know, Corey and I talked about on the podcast, but there just hasn't been a really great track record so far of this staff getting kids from high school and then turning them around into becoming contributors on the offensive line. Does he seem to be one of the more physically well put together guys that, not saying he has a chance day one, but just probably has less of a chance of going under and being, I don't want to say the B word bust, but just he's more built to be a contributor probably at the next level?
Yeah, I think he'll be a contributor pretty early with his skill set. His body frame looks really good as far as what you want from an interior guy. I think really with high school kids, it's kind of a wait and see of how long it takes them to develop. I've heard a lot of positive things about Jalen Early as well. Guy, they certainly have developed. So I think there's some in there that will do well, but I think he does fit the kind of size and frame that you're looking for, and explosive ability as a blocker that could come in there and help you early.
Let's keep it on the trenches. People were asking last recruiting chat that we did live on YouTube, what's going on with recruiting in the DMV, huh? What's going on with recruiting in the DMV? Maybe they were talking about Virginia specifically. He's from Baltimore, Maryland, but Trent Wilson, another just properly looking recruit, if you will, in terms of filling out that size speed sort of combination. Another consensus 4-star, number 9 overall defensive lineman in the country. So another top 10 prospect,
Right.
as well as Thomas. 6'3", 260 out of Henry Wise High School in Baltimore, Maryland. What was Florida State trying to get done on this visit? And were they able to get those boxes checked off, Michael?
Yeah, I think they did a really good job on this visit. This was one that we heard a lot about. I think he was there for I want to say he got there, did it was kind of a day and a half type of visit. It wasn't just junior day. So he spent a lot of time around the staff, really praised Odell as I expected he would, but also just the connection with the team and just the players and the coaches, I think really resonated with Trent. Trent was looking kind of for, I mean, development's a big deal to him. Certainly why Penn State is pretty high on his list. I think FSU is very high as well. now after this trip. Going in this visit, I was thinking like, probably Penn State is the team that I hear the most about. But then after the visit, I heard a lot of stuff about FSU and a lot of positivity, positive feedback of kind of where FSU feels like they sit after this visit. I think they did a lot of. I think they made a good surge in this recruitment. I think certainly you're going to have to get them on campus more. Certainly that's something we'll keep an eye on. But assuming they do that, I think this first impression was really strong by FSU. I think it's kind of what you're looking for in that first impression to really. I saw this last year with another DMB guy of what they did with DD Holmes when he visited early. It just kind of got this. You got the same kind of feeling of a connection that's unique with FSU compared to the other places he's been. And this is kind of a visit he's been coveting to taking. There was a lot of at stake as far as if the visit would match what he was hoping, and I think it exceeded kind of what he expected as far as FSU. And I certainly think they've now put them into as a major candidate and a major threat in this recruitment.
Penn State, one of the other teams you think that's probably most instrumental in his.
Yeah, I think Penn State's up there. I think Florida's another team that he visited. I think there's other schools, but Penn State for me is probably the bigger threat that I hear out of other those teams. But I think FSU made a strong move today.
Hey, last year there was a really good tight end from the state of Georgia. He was committed to the Dogs. Who. But then was like, nah, I'm good. I'm going to go in Tallahassee. Will history repeat itself? Elyiss Williams, the number one tight end in the entire country for 2025 from Camden County, 6'7", 235 pounds, currently committed to the Dogs, Michael, but that RPM thing's got the Noles as the odds-on favorite as we sit here and talk in the end of January. He's been the campus a lot, man. When they keep coming back, that's obviously a good sign. What kind of things does the staff want to get done when a guy does keep showing up all the time? Try to keep things fresh or just try to stay consistent and improve this where he belongs?
I think really the kids know what you are, what your program is, what your product is. I think it's just stay the thing you said before. The latter is stay consistent, stay what you are. I think the one thing Elyiss, which that's how you pronounce his name. I know it looks like Elise, but it's actually Elyiss. That's how you pronounce his name. But I think the main thing is why he keeps coming back is the connection, the relationships that away from football, and it's not just because let's face it. I mean, I'm sure every school tells him, whether it's FSU or any other place he visits, that you're a great talent, you're you're an amazing tight end prospect, and so I think with FSU they've done a great job of showing them a different side of what makes you unique. And if you're going to pull off these flips, and we saw this with Landon, it gives me kind of similar Landon Thomas vibes of Landon kind of sound the same way of it's more than just the X's and O's and what you can do on a football field or what the school can give you as from a football field, but it's also how do you connect with these guys? Can you see yourself there if you weren't playing football? And I think that's a big reason why Elyiss keeps coming back. He's very comfortable there. It's very relaxed. Heard the same thing out of Landon a year ago. Now, it'll be a little tougher because Landon grew up an FSU fan. Landon's also only 40 minutes away. Camden's probably, I'd say, 4.5 hours or something like that. So, the distance isn't as logical, and he didn't grow up a fan, but there's something that keeps bringing him back. This kid's visited FSU like, I think, 4 times last year. He's already said he's coming back for our spring practice. He's definitely going to officially visit FSU. FSU was the only team that he mentioned that he definitely would officially visit. Didn't even mention Georgia. So I think it says a lot about what they're doing, how they're chipping away in this recruitment, and it's certainly one that the more you get them on campus, the more the chances with FSU increase. And I think certainly they're a valuable threat and a strong threat in this race. I don't think it's as cut and dry like it was with Landon, but I think they're certainly chipping away, and certainly they are a school that he told me, Elyiss told me personally, like there's a unique connection and relationship with FSU that isn't there with a lot of other schools as far as just how he feels around the staff. He knows a lot of the staff. He's around Alex Atkins a lot. He's around obviously Chris Thompson. That's the tight end coach, and then certainly Mike Norvell. And so it's a combination of relationships with everybody. So it's certainly having a pivotal point in this recruitment of having FSU certainly trending in a possible way to potentially do it again.
What do they got to do, you think, to land the plane, though, ultimately, Michael? I mean, we know, we can talk about momentum and guys being maybe flipping in August, but ultimately you want December to be the end game really for you. I guess, what are your feelings on it? What do you think does the staff have a pretty good idea what they have to do to make sure they pull it off in the end?
Yeah, I kind of asked the last what else would you be looking for, and he just mentioned I really loved what I saw from them last year. I want to see. I think it's more consistency of what they did on the field. I think if they continue to do that, I mean, think the relationships are so strong. That part is done. I think it's really just showing a vibe of can this team be in a consistent top 5 program for a long haul? Is it a 3-year window or a 2-year window? I guess what they did the last 2 years, or is it a situation where FSU is going to be top 5 again or top 10? And I think if they do that on the field, it's going to have a strong effect in this recruitment. So if you're going to talk about landing the plane, I think that would potentially fall into that category of landing the plane.
Going to mix it up on you here, change the plans of what we're going to talk about, Michael. But there's some receivers that are out there. You should go to the PRB, everybody. Be a member of warchant.com. You can go check out all this stuff in written form, easy to digest. You don't have to sit through 10 minutes of me blabbering to poor Michael. But we're talking about elite prospects right there, right? Thomas, top 10 offensive lineman.
Right.
Wilson, top 10 defensive lineman. Elyiss Williams, number 1 tight end in the entire country. Then, we see a 3-star. And we're like, what's going on the 3-star there? Let's talk a little bit about Lonza Hayward. He's a defensive back, 6'1", 196 out of Lyons, Georgia. The teams on the screen don't look great. Georgia Southern, South
Right.
Carolina, Florida, UCF. Doesn't even have a star ranking in our network right now, but I don't want to call him the next Shaheen, but what are some of the good vibes? Maybe not so much about what Laganza felt when he was on campus, but maybe what you're hearing about the way he's being evaluated that makes you feel good about his, worthiness to be a part of this 2024 class, or 25 class rather, if everything works out.
Yeah, I mean, he is first off the hook. When you look at this kid, I mean, he is stacked. For a DB, I mean, he looks really impressive. The height and the weight checks out as far as me seeing him in person. I mean, he has those broad shoulders, the physicality you look for, the strength, the frame that you look for as a DB, and he's a guy that can play either safety or corner. I think those teams you see on there will change greatly, in my opinion. I think this kid's a gem, and I know, based on the people I talk to from my FSU circles, this is a guy that they are very high on. Like they are very high on. They offered him, you know, either during the junior day or afterwards. Tremendous athlete, can do a lot of different things. They don't even know. I don't even know if FSU knows the exact position they like him, but I think for me is the instincts, the be able to his ball skills just jump off the charts to me when I watch and studied his film the night before the junior day. I just really like what I see, and I think Certain is really high on this kid. That's kind of the perception I get. Doesn't mind to strike you. Doesn't mind to strike you as a safety, but also you can put him at corner, and he can certainly make plays. And then as an athlete, he just makes plays. I mean, you could put him at receiver as we watch some of these clips. He's just one of those guys that's what you call just a playmaker. So I think he's one of those guys that we will see blow up as the season goes on, as far as rankings and teams and schools involved. FSU's a dream school, so that was one of the dreams as far as landing this offer. So that was certainly very pivotal to getting an offer this early and getting on him before this thing blows up. And FSU does a really good job with that stuff. I mean, we've seen that over the years where they're in there before anybody, and it really it helps them win out late in processes of recruiting. And I think this is another one that's going to be very high on their list. They also had Caden Gordon, who also visited. He's a talented cornerback, 25 class as well. He's a guy that I do think there's a possible pursuit there. You'll see, but Laganza was the one that I heard the most buzz about. There's just a lot of excitement around his game in regards to the push from FSU.
Yeah, man, that was good film, right? That was physical. That was fast. That was
Yeah.
finding out where the ball was and triggering downhill really quickly.
Yeah.
So, all right. Maybe no stars, but keep an eye on that one, everybody. Good stuff right there from Michael. All right, there's plenty more over at the PRB, right, Michael? This is just the tip of the iceberg, huh?
Oh yeah, we got tons of stuff. I did a wrap on Saturday night. People can look at it. I go through all the prospects that I'm hearing and how the visits went. This is just a small tip of the iceberg of stuff that we covered. Certainly, I still have. I think we just recently posted the story on the two receivers that visited, Derek Smith, Quincy Porter. You can read all about that. It's on our front page. So go check that out. And then also you have another junior day this weekend, the final one, I think, in the spring. And then, it's going to be some very talented prospects that'll be certainly in attendance for that one. And then we still have the defensive side of the ball, my 2025 hot board that's coming up. So a lot going on, guys. Like a lot stuff. It's going to be popping in the next few days.
When does Michael stop working, you wonder?
After next weekend.
Yeah. After next weekend. Go have a date night with your lovely wife, Michael. We appreciate you taking time out and hanging out, man.
No problem, buddy.